All right, we're here with head women's crew coach Matt Weise, kind of previewing the start of the crew season. The Jacks are opening up the season on the road out in Sacramento for a pair of regattas hosted by Sacramento State and UC Davis. Coach, just kind of talk to us about how excited you are to finally get the season going after the work the girls have been putting in out at the boathouse this year.
Yeah, we training miles and miles since November. That's the last time we saw anybody of a different uniform. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend. They've been working hard. They got their little countdown chain up in the boathouse, and it's almost down to 0. So we're very excited to get started.
Awesome. And so just kind of talk to me a little bit about coming off of last season. I know last season didn't finish quite the way we had wanted it to go, but it seems like the group is young and hungry this year. They're really excited about the season. Just kind of go into detail what the mentality has been at practice, getting ready for this season and kind of getting ready hopefully for another push to the national championships.
Yeah, part of that. So we were one spot away from the NCAAs, and we had a bad GNAC championship, and a lot of those, most of them returned. All but one athlete is returned from that group. They learned a lot from that race, and most of it was to keep their heads in the boat, to key in on how the boat's moving, and so I'm looking forward to see again when we get out for competition, are they able to apply that rather than just kind of applying this emotional energy, which kind of popped out at GNACs last year.
So talk about that. I know going down to Sac State and going to Davis, you have a couple regattas this weekend. Just kind of talk about first off, the level of competition you're going to be facing this weekend, and two, what you're kind of looking for from everybody just in terms of their competition this weekend and what you want to get out of this weekend.
Yeah, so most of them are Division I schools, which is good, but I think we can be competitive. I'm looking at our times and kind of what we're searching for is if we pull times that we can, we're going to be very competitive down there. And so that's the part of, can they apply what they've learned, again, keep their heads where it should be so they can go as fast as they can. If we can do that, then we can make adjustments to the race plan accordingly for the next events. But it's really, are they going to perform at the level that they're capable of? So then we can take the next steps forward and evaluate.
And if there was a kind of a theme going into this season that you've instilled in practice, what do you think that theme would be?
It's our boat. It's our rhythm. It's our race, as opposed to worrying about others. Let's stay in the process orientation, and outcomes come from that.
Awesome.
Coach, I've a couple questions, but I'll start with one that, if you'll bear with me, is a little bit out of left field because it's my familiarity with rowing. Was just we have local product. Ezra Carlson is among an Olympic level athlete. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I say that to just say when you talk about rowing as a sport. I mean, I'm actually familiar with some from the East Coast, but on the West Coast, I mean, what is it as a boon to just have a strong culture for that sport like exists in Humboldt, where there is just I feel like a lot more infrastructure than maybe you find in a lot of other places. And how does that help, propel you and prepare you for this season? Yeah.
So part of it, my wife rows for Humboldt Bay Rowing Association. I've coached them as well. When we moved out here a few years ago, part of what I wanted to bring from Michigan State was there's a team culture. Local culture. Everybody's connected to rowing. It's not a very big community, so let's get all connected and be friendly. And so, same thing. The men have moved into into one of the bays of our boathouse. So again, the community just keeps getting stronger and bigger. And from a standpoint of rowing, it allows us then to share resources. It allows us to have conversations that you wouldn't have if you're by yourself and isolated. So it really creates something special, and it makes our rowing much better because again, it's more people involved in it.
Mm-hmm. And maybe to that same point, I mean, I know the Sacramento State Invitational, UC Davis, also the Husky Open is down the road. I mean, being able to also measure up against, some of the strongest programs nationally, but of course, with there just being less schools on the West Coast, there's more opportunity to really maybe have that exchange and measure yourself. I mean, how does that really work to elevate your program as you want to have a successful season, obviously?
Yeah, Division II rowing there's not very many schools on the West Coast. So we race anybody, anytime, wherever we can go. And I think you get to take a look then and really measure your true speed. Again, you're pushing to try to be competitive on all levels rather than just one. And so again, you have to take a look and say, how are we going to go into this weekend and not say, we're a Division II team racing against Division I, but how do we win? Right? How do we go at our fastest and how do we compete? And I think that's a place that we can do. And that's the place where, again, the community is so small on the West Coast, it allows us to really, I think, grow and get faster because of those experiences.
And maybe lastly, with those three meets, and then really it seems pretty soon after there, you're kind of heading immediately transitioning into postseason. I mean, you'll host your own Humboldt regatta, but then pretty much after that, it starts to get, I think, a little bit more into that. What do you try to get out of these first, I know this weekend and then also the Husky Open, what do you try to get out of that as far as what you're seeing, what you're trying to lay the foundation for to have ultimately a successful season in the spot in the postseason?
Sure. So the racing season is very short, right? They only get maybe 12 cracks at the race course all year. And we train 12 months out of the year for 12 opportunities. Very different. Maybe it's similar to cross country. You're only going to get so many performances out of a crew. So you can't overdo it because then they get fatigued and they burn out. So what we were looking for early on is, are they able to race well? What happens in a boat? You've got to have 8 or 4 people working together. How do the coxswains keep them together? Coaches don't get to be out there. We don't get to blow a whistle or a timeout or anything. It's all athlete oriented. So how do the athletes handle that situation? And how do we improve on it then, day 1 to day 2 to day 3, and just get better every time that we do it?
Awesome. I mean, I think that's it for me. So thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it.